Path of Night is an actual play Vampire the Masquerade podcast set in the classic world of darkness. We're all friends, we're here to have fun, but our story can include graphic violence, drug use, sexual content, and other mature themes. We talked at our table about safety, comfort, and consent, both as players and storytellers. We know what to expect. We're all excited to be here, and we want you to feel the same. So listener discretion is advised. Now, let's walk the Path of Night. Last time, on Path of Night, Johnny and Wynn rushed to Neil's Haven to try and rescue Nara, and to take the evidence of Neil's Duran key. However, Bruja Bully Boys led by Renwick had already arrived. Wynn calls in Kabir. The group is able to steal back both Nara and the ritual components before Renwick can make it out. Miles and Britta bring Neil into court, where the Malkavian must be handed over to the Tremere. Miles tries to talk to the prince, while Britta works on a deal with Elsa. Miles finds that his prince was deeply unhinged by the demontation of Quentin King, but Miles manages to bargain for the trial to be held the next night, giving the coterie a precious extra 24 hours to try and save Neil. Meanwhile, Reese questions Neil, and just as things hit a breaking point, Elsa follows through on her bargain with Britta, leading the Toreador into the interrogation room and seizing control of the investigation. Meanwhile, Johnny and Wynn place their phone call.
So I think Johnny and Wynn head to some out-of-the-way spot that he knows in the city to find a payphone, just so that they can sit with their newly found Assamite friend and not get hassled by Sabat or Tremere goons.
I think Kabir is still with us, too.
Oh, that's right. We have Kabir with us as well.
You guys got a crew.
Yeah, we have a bunch of unacknowledged people with us, and so if we could avoid city contacts, that'd probably be great.
Do you just want to use my cell phone and we go hide in the woods for a little while?
That thing can make a call out in the woods?
Yeah, I can make a call as long as I'm not standing inside my house.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
Yeah, why don't we do that instead?
All right.
So I'm not in my
I can't trace these things, right?
You're getting into the dark lexicon at this point. I don't know these sort of things.
All right.
The group of you head to the park. Who's placing the phone call?
I think Johnny will, because if we're calling Weathers, probably the one person that he might not just hang up on. To be fair, he might not hang up on you. I think he might actually talk to you.
Right.
Do you want to call Weathers?
No, I think you should talk to him. He's your plan.
He might. He's getting more and more sick of my shit every time I talk to him.
All right. Well, if you get the sense that his bullshit-o-meter is off the tracks, hand the phone to me.
All right.
Wynn hands her Nokia to Johnny.
Johnny stabs the Nokia with big, fat, ugly fingers and puts in Weathers' number.
Yeah.
Weathers, it's Johnny.
All right, Johnny, what's going on?
There's a lot of bad news going around the city tonight.
I heard a little something about that. Is it true that you attacked the Scourge?
I did. I was gonna attack the Scourge, but a freaking Tremere got in my way. Nothing happened.
I'm gonna trust you to not bullshit me, so what's the issue?
So Weathers, you still in the city?
Yeah. I've been up in the tray, kind of keeping an eye on things. I don't know if I'm gonna stay. I got an offer to help with some work in New York.
Really?
Yeah.
What's going on in New York City?
Potentially.
It's the front lines, Weathers.
Yeah.
So, I got a couple of uninvited guests, and I really need to make sure that they're safe. And I'm hoping you might be able to help me keep an eye out for them. Or maybe give me some clues to where it might be safe.
Who are they?
One's my Ravnos friend that you've met before. The other is, I think she calls herself a child of Hakim.
All right. Why is an Assamite in town?
I don't know. But I know that she's being chased by other Assamites.
Who is she?
Would you like to talk to her?
Johnny, do you not know who she is?
She's a friend of Neil's, and that's good enough for me.
Her name's Nara.
Who is that?
That's Wynn. Here, tell you what, I'm going to pass the phone to her, because you tend to be nicer to her.
Wynn takes the phone. Hey, Weathers, sorry.
Did you just pass the fucking phone without asking me?
Yeah, does that surprise you?
Her name is Nara.
Her name is Nara.
The Nara from New Haven years ago.
I don't know. Was there a Nara in New Haven years ago?
Ask her if she's been here before.
Wynn kind of holds the phone down away from her mouth. Hey, Nara, have you been here before?
There's like a slightly awkward nod.
Confirmed.
I know her, sire. Where does she need to hold up? Is there anyone in particular, or are you guys just looking for a hole somewhere?
We're just trying to keep her away from the Scourge at this point. Neil's kind of fallen into an avalanche of bullshit, and,
Does the Scourge know that you have her?
No, I don't think so.
I need a definite yes or no.
Johnny?
Yeah.
Kabir, do we think that the Scourge knows we have her?
No way. No one would think that we are responsible for that car crash.
Johnny reaches over and takes the phone from Wynn.
Oh shit, he's taking it back.
So, the Scourge thinks that he secured Nara. And there was definitely the beginnings of an altercation with me. So if there was going to be suspicion cast anywhere, it would probably be towards me.
And you want me to hide Kabir too? Why am I hiding Kabir?
Actually, he could probably fend for himself. But I was just putting all my cards on the table. Johnny gives a shrug over to Kabir like, I'm sorry, dude.
Kabir's like, don't worry, my friend. We are in control.
But aside from the Scourge, there's also the web of knives that's running around looking for Neil and Nara. And there's the Sabbat in the city. So we are not short of any kind of bullshit.
Drop her off at the metro station. I'll take care of it from there. Whatever all this bullshit is, you've got to get it under control. Or one of those things is going to end up killing you or someone you care about.
I know.
Wynn motions for the phone.
Johnny hands it back over.
Hey, thank you.
I got you.
Yeah, you always do. Thank you. And she hands it back to Johnny.
I'll see you in a little bit, old man.
Yeah, I'll see you soon.
All right.
What's the plan?
Well, we're going to load up in my vehicle. We're going to head over towards the metro station, probably making a stop off so I can buy him a pack of Newports. And then we're going to hope that he can provide some protection for Nara while we try and get things sorted at the Elysium. I already fucked up by letting them raid Neil's Haven. I told him I wouldn't.
We fucked up on that, man.
But I want to make sure I can tell him that Nara's in safe hands.
Yeah. I think we've lost a few too many friends.
Yeah.
Nara speaks up. So I am to stay with this friend of yours?
He was the former sheriff of this domain, Weathers. Apparently he knows your sire?
Yeah, that's what he said.
I know of this man.
I would trust him with my life.
And we're trusting him with yours. Because, I'll be very honest, you're probably better off with him than with us at this point.
He is understood to be a man of honor.
I'm glad that's carried over.
We need to go into the heart of the domain to try and make sure that Miles, Britta, and Neil are safe. And I don't want to risk bringing you along. Is that acceptable?
It is.
Is there anything you need?
At this time, nothing I cannot find with Mr. Weathers.
All right.
And what is to become of Neil?
Undetermined.
Undetermined?
He's being accused of being his own sire and masquerading to defraud the Camarillan. So it's not looking good for him. We're going to do everything we can.
Thank you.
Is there anything you can do to help us with that?
I still have contacts with Alamut. If it is warriors you need, warriors can be secured.
As much as I love the idea of some Assamite backup, I don't think that would do anything but exacerbate the situation.
Holy shit, did that just come out of your mouth, Johnny?
Yeah, that's about my word budget for the night.
Yeah.
Then I will refrain from doing such.
Yet.
So long as Neil lives.
If Neil goes down,
I don't think the rest of us are going to take it quietly.
The Web of Knives wants something from Neil. If he is to meet final death, there will be vengeance.
What do they want from him?
We have seen an omen of dark times that lie before the children of Hakim. The first among us, great and wise Hakim, taught us long ago to avoid the mad jihad that is the Get of Cain. And in our isolation, we would remain separate and capable judges. Some have foretold that an ancient weapon is to rise, and when it does, our clan will be torn asunder. Neil has seen the form that this takes.
I think he's mentioned it a couple times.
The herald of Hakim comes.
Johnny flashes eyes over at Kabir to get Kabir's read on what Nara is saying.
He, kind of rolls his eyes. Don't worry, Johnny. These Assamites tend to be rather sanctimonious, if you understand my feeling. He elbows you.
Right.
They always have some great prophecy, some great purpose, some great whatever, some knife.
Johnny kind of chuckles.
Nara does not look like she's fucking joking.
Well, Johnny chuckles along Kabir, but his eyes are not laughing. He's kind of keeping eyes on Nara, he is rather uncomfortable that, so many things that he would have normally just laughed off as bullshit is happening with more and more frequency over the past few months of 1999. It's getting to be a little bit too coincidental.
The herald will sharpen the knife that is the children of Hakim and press it to the throats of the elders of your Camarillan, the elders of your Saban. None of the Get of Cayenne shall be safe throughout the rest of the final nights. And this is all before great Hakim comes with his vengeance.
Well, before they can come with their vengeance, we have to work on not needing to use ours. So let's get you safe for the night, and we'll get to Elysium to see if we can do anything about Neil.
Of course.
Johnny loads everybody up into his vehicle, and they head off to the metro station. He will definitely stop somewhere along the way to buy a pack of Newports, so he can slick some palms and hopefully buy a little bit of grace with his favorite Bruja. And before we get out, I look around for a vehicle that matches what I would expect Weathers to be driving.
It is not long before you arrive to what looks to be a big black SUV. The kinds that are really popular right around this time. And this one's got fully tinted windows on the side. It's definitely the kind of thing that he might take to a chase. The window rolls down and you see Weathers in the driver's seat.
Is there anybody else in the SUV with him?
The windows are tinted.
Johnny will hop out of the vehicle. He'll leave the keys in the ignition and walk over to the driver's window and hand him the pack of Newports. He will also peek into the SUV in the back to see if there's just anything else weird going on.
There are 3 of his ghouls in the back seat, and they're all packing heat.
Thank you again for this, Weathers.
Don't mention it. So this is Nara, who kind of leans over and kind of gives her a nod, and she lowers her head deferentially towards him.
Yeah, this is her. Johnny kind of motions for her to get out of the truck and jump into the SUV with Weathers.
She does pretty quick.
Wynn gave her the front seat, and she sat in the back with Kabir.
So you know anything about this scourge, Weathers?
He shows child.
So what's his play here?
I haven't had much interacting with him, but most of it seems to be him asking questions about your coterie, the dynamics of the domain. It's usually, a lot of it looks to be the stuff that's kind of typical. However, he is both Primogen and Scourge. The prince doesn't usually reward that. As far as I knew, I was the only one doing double back in the day. But he's definitely tied to Warwick.
So where do his loyalties lie? Because he seems like he's pretty buddy with Tremere.
He is loyal to what he thinks the Camarillan is supposed to be. Just like you are.
And he wants vengeance for his sire, huh?
Wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Nope.
If I knew my sire.
While we're talking about it, I should warn you, your sire is in town.
I figured as much.
And there are a few things that would pose an overt problem for the domain like him in a bad mood. So watch your back.
How much do you know about my sire, Weathers? Because I know jack all, and I feel like you know more about him than I do.
Delgado was a West Coast outlaw back in the day when that was the sort of thing that people were.
Johnny hisses, Delgado.
Horseback, Colt, old school.
I always just knew him as the Black Hand.
He's not the only of his kind in that regard.
I just found out about that, too.
Where'd you hear that?
I heard about it first when I went down to New York to pick up Nara and Neil. There was a phrase I was supposed to use to pick him up in the airport. A black hand rises. Also Britta.
The whole thing?
Yeah. She keeps on scratching a black moon into her hand, just like my sire had.
That's pretty bad.
I figured as much.
What are you going to do about it?
I'm going to keep an eye on it for as long as I can.
That's some wording right there, huh? Watch as long as you can, hoping that that's all that needs to be done. What I'm asking is, what are you going to do when that's no longer the case?
I don't like to think too much about futures that I don't want to see come to pass.
Yeah, well, I hate to break it to you, but that's being a kindred. And the reason the Brah lose is because they prefer to not do that. I'm going to get going. You guys played safe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's day late and $1 short for that, but we'll do our best.
No, it's not. It can always get worse. Right now, you're at risk of losing everything.
Thanks for
Fuck around for a few nights and see how we describe it then.
Thank you for reminding me of that.
Mm-hmm.
He starts the truck and he just fucking pulls out.
You too comfy back there?
Yes.
It'll do.
Johnny walks around to the driver's seat, hops up and in, pulls out a Morley, pops it in his mouth. Let's head to Elysium.
Where you want us to drop you off, Kabir?
Actually, I thought I might stay in the car.
Whatever. Their knees brush a couple times.
I like that.
Wynn doesn't say anything, she just kind of smirks.
Johnny proceeds to drive to the Elysium.
Johnny's real quiet in the back seat. But
it's good for you to chaperone the state.
You make it to the Elysium.
He turns on his music a little bit and just smokes through his cigarette.
Wynn, I love this song.
Careless Whisper?
Yes, of course. It's not Careless Whisper that's playing, but like he's like, yes, that one. I love it.
Yeah, this is exactly what I pegged you for.
Do you like Careless Whisper?
Do you like Paschetti?
Becoming a vampire makes you very sexy.
Somehow, Kabir, you always manage to render me speechless. So take that for what you will.
I shall.
Oh, God.
Oh, God, please cut away.
Johnny, you arrive to Elysium. The back seat windows are tinted on your car.
They were not originally, were they?
No, they were not. I wish you all
Crafty
good luck.
rabbits.
If you're in need of a rescue, call my name.
You know it. Be safe.
Be safe. My love.
Seriously, bud.
Yes.
Be safe.
No, yes, you be safe too.
Johnny hops out.
Wynn oddly lingers. Her gaze lingers a little bit, which confuses even her. And she heads into the Elysium.
Johnny tucks the keys away in like a secret spot on the vehicle, because I feel like that's kind of more his style, is like leaving the keys with a vehicle rather than taking it on his person. And he kind of flashes an eye back at Kabir and kind of nods to him, just having stashed the keys.
Of course, my friend. I will take things from here.
Yeah, I bet you will.
I will.
Yeah.
You carry any weapons on you, Wynn?
No.
Good.
Yeah, I know.
And the two of them walk up and in.
Miles, you're out of your meeting, and you already see Reese and a group of Tremere kind of rallying off in a corner and leaving Elysium. As that is happening, Wynn and Johnny arrive.
I raise my eyebrows at that, but at the Tremere leaving, not the Johnny showing up, and head towards Johnny and Wynn. What's the word?
Nothing's too good. They managed to raid Neil's Haven and found mostly everything. But on the upside, friends of the coterie are in safe hands.
Well, that's good. I assume you weren't able to stop them from taking any of this stuff?
They were already moving it out by the time we got there.
Let's hold off on mentioning that to him until everything is done.
That's my thought.
Yeah.
Where is he, by the way?
He was shackled and taken off by the Tremere, but I saw them just leave, so was going to go check in on Britta because she was talking to Elsa.
Okay.
And I feel like something has happened. Oh, the prince is not feeling well.
Johnny kind of gives you a furrowed brow.
Wynn kind of gives a look like, what the fuck does that mean?
It may explain why everything has happened in this short span, but I'm afraid to go into details and...
Polite
Open.
company.
Right.
Open court. You know?
Right. It's things I feel like Neil might know about, but...
Well, we'll get him back eventually.
let's just put it that he is unreliable. More so than usual.
So what's the plan for tonight, besides get Neil back?
Well, I've delayed judgment, at least, on anything.
Till when?
At least till tomorrow,
Okay.
which hopefully gives us an ability to calm some of this down. And the only payment I so far have to do is somehow make the prince appear cool.
So, the Nosferatu Primogen, the Scourge, he was the one heading up operations over at the Haven.
He's a Primogen and a Scourge.
Yeah.
And acting like he's sheriff.
That explains...
He was saying, the Scourge is able to do all this. I think that's stepping a little bit beyond his position, but I'm not necessarily the top of domain politics.
We'd have to go into the detail, but I'm imagining that...
But the bully boys were acting like he was calling the shots.
We could look into that later.
Just letting you know, since you're acting sheriff.
Yes, I mean, I feel like I am sheriff. But that doesn't mean that there isn't prejudices inside the bully organization from everything that happened.
Oh, I get it. I want to make sure you have the information so you don't look bad if someone brings it up.
Good thought. Let's go find Britta and see what our next step is here. So we'll start looking for her and moving towards, imagine, the middle area of the corners.
Britta's kind of been left by herself on a nice big lavish sofa, which kind of makes her somehow look smaller while sitting on it.
She looks up as everyone approaches. Hi.
Hey.
Evening.
So she kind of pitches her voice lower, conscious of the Elysium. The investigation is going to be handled by the Toreador now to oversee verification of Neil's identity and of his magic. That won't ensure the verdict that we are hoping for, but it will assure that there won't be a sabotage.
You must have paid a pretty penny for that.
Well, there's 2 possible prices. And there's a bit more. Hang on. Elise will meet with the prince. Elsa will meet with the prince. I think that might have already happened. And the coterie will have the chance to help prove Neil's innocence before the final verdict. When it comes to the price, yeah, I did bargain, like you suggested. There's 2 possible prices depending on how this goes. Right now, my name and yours, Wynn, we're on the book owing a life boon each to Elsa. If we prove Neil's innocence, that life boon shifts from you to him.
Wynn kind of gives a nod like she expected this.
But there's a way to get rid of them both. She turns to Miles.
Miles raises an eyebrow.
When I was learning about boons and everything, a blood boon is less than a life boon. And one of the possible prices for one, basically the agreement that we came to was that I would be bloodbound to her, and if you would apologize to her, if you would apologize publicly in Elysium so that everyone would hear, to show your support for her and that you regretted the disrespect she feels you showed her, that she would erase the life boons and that would be all.
What exactly does she want me to apologize for?
She wants a public declaration that you would not seek to negatively impact her, that you feel that you've disrespected her, that you should have shown your support and admiration more.
I mean, I think that's what I was doing, but I'll confer with her to get whatever specific apology she wants, so that she can't say that I didn't hit the marks that she wanted.
What she'll want from you is, I think, why she was willing to accept me being bloodbound to her instead of having a life boon over me. Sincerity. And...
Did she blood bond that Romeo kid?
I don't know.
Because he was awfully buddy-buddy with her and spent a lot of time around her. I realized they were clanmates and all, but...
I mean, I believe he was under her accounting, so...
Listen, if she's willing to save Neil, I'm okay with giving her that admiration. And I know it won't be my choice, so long as that blood bond works. But, I mean, we've given each other that for lesser costs. Or rather, for higher costs, for nothing. Just try to help each other, sure, but for me to feel that way towards her, I'll pay that price. That's fine.
Look, all I'm curious about is the fact that she seems to take a particular shine to you young lost licks. That could just be coincidence, but I feel like coincidence is in short supply these days.
Is it a blood bond or a blood boon?
Blood bond. She wants assurance that she can depend on us, that we won't undermine her, and that we will support her publicly in this domain. That her reputation will be bolstered by ours and by our actions. That's why I think she wants the apology from you, in part to demonstrate that we're linked to her, and in part because she does feel genuinely disrespected by you. And I know that might not have been your intention, but that's how she perceives it.
Like I said, I'm willing to do so, but I want to hit the points with her because I'm not going to do something half-assed. So I want to know what she's looking for, and it may have been a misunderstanding.
I'll point out this. She is one of the elders of this domain, and the elders are very particular about the way they feel catered to. You going and asking her how to apologize might offend her further. If this is what I think it is, she's just trying to flex on you, and she might just want to see you prostrate yourself in open court and try to cover all of your bases without asking. Just a thought.
I'm going to have a conversation with her before I go and do all sorts of apologies out and thing.
Don't say I didn't warn you.
Miles, if you are to have a conversation with her, would you consider opening with a private apology and the assurance that you will give her the public apology, so that she might be more open to talk to you?
If she feels that I have wronged or harmed her, then I want to get to the root of the matter, and I will do so. It was not my intention through our last contact to do such a thing.
Lead with that.
When you do talk to her, you might want to frame it as the truth that you have offended her. Not that she feels that you offended her, but if you take her perspective and take her side, she'll be more open to you.
Isn't that what I said by her feeling that I offended her?
She doesn't feel that you offended her, you offended her. That's her reality. So don't, in this case, lead with what her feelings are.
What I've done works because of deference. It works because of being willing to put my life in her hands and being willing to put my respect towards her. And if we carry that energy through, I mean, she's already done this much for us. So,
I mean, she did this much for us because she's got her side of the bargain. So she's upholding her side of the bargain.
But keep in mind, she views her time and her efforts very highly as elder. It's not an even bargain.
Miles, Clan Ventru is the best clan at making deals and forcing things. Clan Toreador, and he points over to Britta, are the ones who make sure all this social bullshit is lubricated and happens. Listen to what the young one's saying.
I get it. And don't get me wrong, but I'm just saying I'm perfectly fine with the whole apology and everything like that, but I also want to be, it also has to be from me and with the correct, what the word I'm looking for, correct truth to it, my truth, the correct way, the way I would say these things. If I just say things, people are going to know it's not a real apology. So I need to go and get that because I am perfectly willing to give her what she wants.
So just know going in that she feels that what you said, the way that you conducted yourself with her, undermined her. That's the source of the sense of disrespect, that you were not considerate.
That he somehow made her less powerful?
When you're trying to get people to like you, it's cumulative. People need to continue liking you. So if people are seen not to like you, it hurts that effort.
Gotcha.
Miles, our names are in the book, Wynn and I. So, as Harpy, it is always her choice as to whether or not she would ever take those boons out. So
Wait a minute, you paid her in a boon, and now you're also planning to give her a blood bond and have him apologize?
No, it's just that the boons are there. They're in the book, and she's the only one who can take them out, as Harpy, in order to replace it with the other costs. The boons are there in order for her to keep doing what she's doing right now.
Like collateral?
Yes.
You realize that you are taking her at face value that she would replace those, right?
I realize that I'm willing to pay that price if it need be, and that the only way that she's going to trust us again is if we show that we can trust her.
We can't trust her. You know that.
We need somebody in here to trust, and the other options aren't particularly great.
When it comes to trust, what we're asking of her is a high price. If she's willing to help us with that, I think that's worth some trust. I do. And I know that I can't trust everything.
I want you to remove any expectation that trust has anything to do with this transaction. She will help us. She will make us pay a price. I don't think you should conflate that any of this has anything to do with trust.
I know to be careful, but I know you're looking out for me to remind me.
I'm just pointing out the realities of the Camarillan. That's all, kid.
But the reality is that now we have a way to save Neil.
To possibly save Neil.
Possibly.
We have the opportunity to save Neil.
She's right. An opportunity with the Toreador is hell better than the opportunity with the Tremere.
We know that the Tremere, from what Elsa said, we're going to sabotage it for sure.
We need to take steps to try to heal this domain if we're going to stand any chance of withering any outside attacks. She is the most competent person in charge.
I agree.
So
let's just not forget we're riding across the river and taking a scorpion with us.
Just let's not borrow trouble until that time.
You're right to be cautious. What else can we do? Did you learn anything while you were out?
Short answer, yes. Long answer, we should go to your place after this and talk.
All right.
Can you start trying to make the prince seem cool?
Is, Britta kind of goes, quiet and, looks down and, kind of, toys with, I imagine this is probably a velvet couch. Yeah, just starts, kind of nervously running her finger over the velvet and looks back at Miles and says, Is His Grace mad at me?
No.
He looked kind of upset.
I mean, he was upset, but right now, the best thing we can do for the Greys is to make him feel better. And he needs to feel like the court respects him. So I'm going to have the small conversation with Elsa, and hopefully while that's happening, you can maybe bolster His Grace's reputation with some of the members of the court.
And I will try to keep my mouth shut.
Johnny's already looking around the room to see if he can spot the Scourge.
The Scourge has not arrived yet.
Has anybody wearing the Scourge's clothes arrived?
No.
All right. While people are looking around for people, I suppose Britta is looking around the room for Rollins.
Upton Rollins has barricaded himself in his office.
All right.
You need to make the general populace make him feel cool.
To that objective, Britta is going to sort of, while the others are seeking their objectives, walk around, listen into conversations, listen in if she needs to, enhanced, just to try to catch the current feeling on Rollins and how she might use that.
People are quietly saying that Rollins has gone completely insane and may pose a permanent problem for the domain unless it's addressed. And apparently he made an announcement that the Prince of Boston humiliated him and has warned everyone that if they speak of it, they will be killed. Everyone is talking about it, but like everyone's agreeing, like, don't tell anyone but this. Yeah. Don't tell anyone but this. Don't tell anyone but this. And it's like insanely scandalous.
So I take a deep breath as I move away from the group and like center myself and like put on more of my normal court face and go seek the center of attention. That's usually wherever Elsa would be.
2 people enter. Elsa and the Nosferatu primogen. Elsa kind of like finds a seat, relaxes, has a drink poured for her. She seems kind of bored with the night. Apparently the excitement of Upton Rollins being cray-cray has come and gone for her. She's no longer interested.
I will move towards her and wait to be acknowledged.
Okay. On your way there, the Nosferatu primogen kind of moves and intercepts. Sheriff.
Primogen?
We need a conversation.
All right. Do you need it here, or do you want to go somewhere else?
That's up to you. An Assamite was detained at your coterie mate's haven. Since then, the kindred responsible for transporting the Assamite was attacked. And now, the Assamite is at large. Another coterie mate of yours was present at the scene when it happened.
All right.
What do you know about it?
What do I know about it?
That is what I just asked.
That I know that you were there with some Shamir and you took away a person.
I just told you that part.
Right. Other than that, I hadn't heard much.
You hadn't heard much?
No, they just came back.
Are bully boys acting outside of your command doing this shit?
Accordingly, they seem to be acting outside of my command when you were commanding them.
The prince gave instructions to the domain as a whole. I think you should be rather proud that your bully boys were adhering to the prince's wishes.
Very good. I'd only got one side of the story, of course.
Well, now you have that. Where is the Assamite?
I have no idea. Where did you put the Assamite then? It sounds like you've misplaced the individual you've detained.
I'm subtly telling you that a member of your coterie just interfered with an investigation and set loose someone that's probably going to be blood hunted. And I'm going to go recommend that he be blood hunted along with her. But I'm willing to talk to you first. So are you going to seize the opportunity to talk to me about this before I do that? Or am I just going to go on my fucking way?
We're talking.
I don't feel like we're having a conversation right now, but maybe you can convince me that it's worth my time to stand here and continue talking to you.
More than likely, the Assamite is out of this city at this point.
What makes you feel that way?
Because that would be the safest thing to do, wouldn't it?
I don't know. I don't know your coterie mate very well.
Well, my coterie mate's here.
Where's the Assamite?
The Assamite is not here.
Okay. I'm going to go have the conversation. He just leaves.
Before you go anywhere, what are you planning on accomplishing with all this?
I'm here to do my job, and if there's someone that's smuggling unwanted kindred out of the domain, particularly Assamites, I'm going to make sure it's dealt with.
All right. Shouldn't we find out about what's going on first?
Yes, that is exactly why I just fucking approached you.
Right, no. You came to me with accusations, not...
I came to you with what I know about the situation, and you apparently don't know much, so I'm going to let you take some time to figure it out.
What is your
the crowd
problem
starts
with
to
us?
Watch. You have blatantly Sabbat coterie mates.
I have
and
no
if not
such
Sabbat,
thing.
Sabbat sympathizers.
From this... based
Don't
on
make
what
me prove it in the middle of a crowd.
Sabbat sympathizers.
He casts Britta a look and then looks back at you. Find out where the Assamite is. Thank you for your time, Sheriff. He walks away.
Did he say Sabbat sympathizers loud enough for other people in the court to hear?
Yes.
Loud enough for Johnny to hear?
Yes.
Johnny will cut him off as he goes to leave the court. What the fuck did you just say about me?
What makes you think I'm talking about you, Johnny? I don't think you're a sympathizer. I think you're full on in.
You think I'm Sabbat?
Yeah, you've killed
you can
members
see
of
his
the court.
hackles rising.
You've been involved in Diablo. You've embraced Sabbat ghouls. You've had access to Sabbat paraphernalia. You spend all of your time warning everybody about how dangerous the pack you came from is. Why wouldn't I think that?
You're awfully fucking stupid for a Nosferatu.
Yeah?
Yeah, because you don't know shit about what's going on, do you?
I don't know. What's on Britta's hands?
Johnny looks over. Are your hands open or are they gloved?
Britta is always wearing gloves and has often in the past put makeup on even before the gloves. It is a strange thing that he might know that there would be something on my hands.
What the fuck is up with her hands?
Oh, so you don't know? Yeah? You're real quiet all of a sudden now, Johnny. I thought you were going to get in my face and tell me that I don't know anything about what's going on. But what you don't understand is that we've already plucked a shit ton of information out of your coterie, mate. We know the dirt that's going on with your coterie. Stop pretending that you're innocent.
First off, I embraced the Xantosa for the Archon.
The Archon wanted the Xantosa embraced. Is that what you're telling me?
The Archon needed the Xantosa alive.
I mean, if this conversation is going over, I'm going to start moving to back him up, because before that was a normal thing, but this is starting to become a little bit different.
For that matter.
Everyone's watching.
Yeah.
Now.
Oh, yeah.
For that matter, what Diablo are you talking about? You talking about your fucking sire?
Britta.
Because that happened because of Tremere blood magic. Get your facts straight. And he stabs a finger into his chest, like pointing out his point.
You feel like a rough hide underneath, like some sort of like carapace almost underneath his clothes. And he steps forward, like kind of escalating things even further. And now you can kind of smell the stench of the sewers coming off of him.
Britta's been listening, as she's been listening to the court and the whispers. I imagine the whispers are transitioning to this topic pretty quickly.
So you mean to tell me that the Tremere, the ones that are responsible for your secrets getting exposed, are now suddenly the guy that I should be worried about?
I'm telling you.
So you didn't have any problems with Shaw?
We had plenty of problems, man.
And you didn't get into a fight with Shaw? You didn't attack him? Whose fangs were in my sire's neck?
Your sire's fangs were bared trying to pull blood out of my neck. Because there was 4, and he holds up his hand, 4 vampires in the middle of this Elysium that the Tremere drained of blood with blood magic so that they would fucking eat each other.
All right, fine. Tell me who they are. Tell me what reliable kindred sources you've got.
Johnny looks over to Elsa and gives her a hard look. Anything you want to speak up, Primogen?
Are you saying that to Elsa?
Yeah.
Elsa sets her glass down, and she stands up and approaches the group of you. Do you have any idea how embarrassing this is?
No.
Okay. The entire concept of the Camarillan is to create an environment where kindred can engage in the conflicts that they have and not be loud, obtuse idiots risking the domain in their feuds. And what you are doing is casting aside every opportunity for civility that the Camarillan offers and deciding that you will be thugs out on a street chest thumping. And now you're asking me to participate in your flagrant unwillingness to behave as kindred, she says, looking between both Johnny and Renwick. So, I do have something I would like to say. And what I would like to say is that both of you need to stop.
Johnny kind of relaxes his posture to a much more kind of peaceful stance, bows his head, and then looks up at Renwick, kind of with a begrudging offer of, you want to try and restart this conversation with the Toreador looking over us?
He seethes with hatred for the man who killed his sire and also anything to do with the Toreador, and just kind of nods. My sire was loyal to the Camarillan and served the elders of the Camarillan faithfully. He was never a member of the Sabbat, and every interaction he had with the Sabbat was for the purposes of gathering information. Politics, whatever they were, he did not deserve to die like that.
I hated your sire's guts, but I completely agree that he did not deserve to die like he did.
Not really sure of what to do with his anger. Renwick gives a slow nod and quietly excuses himself.
As he goes to turn, Johnny goes to reach out to, grab his shoulder, but then thinks better of it. Find out what the Tremere did that night.
I will.
Johnny then turns to Elsa, drops down to a knee, Miss Linden, thank you for your instruction. I was completely out of line, and it is by your grace that this situation has been resolved the way it should be. And he kind of just bows his head and waits for her to do something.
She walks away from you for a moment, picks up her glass, and holds it out for you. Stay a while.
Does she look like she wants me to drink from the glass?
She's just offering you a drink.
He puts a hand out of...
Polite refusal.
Yeah, of a polite decline. I don't think this would stay civil if I drank that. My constitution is not able to imbibe. He's kind of being obtuse as to whether it's blood or wine.
Yeah, I think you'll do just fine.
If the offer still stands, I will stay a while, though.
The offer stands.
Thank you for your hospitality.
She has, as though like parting the Red Sea, a crowd of gawking kindred kind of shift out of the way and begin having their own conversations, none of them about what just happened, as Elsa goes off to find her seat at the piano, and she flips the cover up to reveal the keys and just kind of like busies herself with the piano for a while.
Johnny will move to the sides of the room and will kind of keep his mouth shut for the rest of the night.
I was like about to interfere, but it looked like it didn't seem prudent. So I did follow them back to the piano. And then I'm just yet again waiting for her to acknowledge me.
Yes, Miles.
Also,
Miss Linden.
Miss Linden. Harpy Linden.
If you must.
Fair enough. I owe you a conversation.
An interesting interpretation.
At least at this point.
Also interesting. What would you like to discuss?
I want to know how I can apologize for my offensiveness.
Miles.
And how I can prevent it in the future.
You're asking about how to contractually word it.
To be fair, yes, but also, truthfully, I want to know.
Miles, you approached me with an offer. An offer that was built entirely on the assumption that you know what is best about my future. And when you thought you wouldn't get what you wanted about my future, you pushed. And then you demanded that the relationship I have with your coterie be built on prestation. You wanted a life boon when you had already had my aid genuinely. And now we are here in a scenario where you are getting exactly what you want. I am Harpy, and our relationship is built on prestation.
I wanted to put you in a position where you were more in charge of everything else in this court than anything.
Yes, but I am a woman who does not belong to you. You don't get to put me into positions.
I thought that was what you wanted, and it was my misunderstanding.
It is a misunderstanding of a conversation we didn't have. I never told you I wanted to be a Harpy.
No, that was my misunderstanding, is that I used my own prejudices. I didn't ask you. You are correct.
And I have not endured the unlife that I have endured to have a young man come to my door and tell me what I will do with my nights.
I understand. You do know that I was also trying to secure the domain. That's what I was doing it for.
Miles, the domain will always be in some new tumultuous circumstance. It is not my responsibility, and you don't get to press gang me into protecting your clan's assets.
She can see basically the regret that the fact that this should not be, essentially that we shouldn't be handling the prince in the way that we are. Mm-hmm. That kind of regret just comes across, especially when compared to how competent Arabella was and everything else like that.
Mm-hmm. The truth is, you were put into a position that you are not ready for, and you needed help. But your pride forbade you from asking. So instead, you went from door to door with solutions, expecting that everyone would get in line. I cannot work with you if that is how you intend to function.
It was not. It was just a series of being pushed around myself that had unfortunate circumstances. I want the best for this domain, but I also understand that sometimes not everybody wants to be what I think they could be, and they have their own things they want to be doing.
Yes, Miles.
It's hard. A lot of it is my responsibility. I don't always get that option.
A burden of the venture.
Quite possibly one of our own making.
I suspect you might actually be right for once.
Thanks.
It kind of like gauges how you handle her chastising you. That is what I want an apology for.
Well, I'm apologizing here, and I will do it in the court.
I look forward to hearing it.
Hopefully I will be able to do it in a satisfactory way.
I hope so. So, as the group of you are aware, the following night is when the trial is to take place, and the Camarillan has something of a reputation for not being overly fair. A great deal of whether or not he survives is going to be based on his ability to become a very popular man in a very short period of time. So each of you end up heading to your havens for the evening. Kabir was indeed waiting right in the car, just as he was instructed to. And you find yourselves able to get some rest for the evening. You experience your rest, which is death-like sleep. Neil, you do not rest so comfortably. When you were taken, the Toreador largely actually keep you in the same room that you were interviewed in. And one by one over the course of the night, they file out, going about their business. Eventually, you find yourself alone. And while you're alone, and you can feel the weight of day beginning to force you into that restless sleep that takes all vampires when the sun rises, the door to your room opens. And a figure enters. And you recognize the figure as the person that had been hunting you from New York to Boston to here. And when they shut that door behind them, there's no sound. And then day takes you.
Path of Night is an actual play Vampire the Masquerade podcast set in the classic world of darkness. Britta Ashcroft the Toreador was played by Rebecca Steigelfest. Johnny Saxon the Bruja was played by Garrett Gabbey. Miles Davenport the Ventrue was played by Tim Davis. Neil Foster the Malkavian was played by Rob Muirhead. Wynn Cabot the Gangrel was played by Erika Webb. Your storyteller was Lex Lopez. Recording by Rebecca Steigelfest. This episode was edited by Rob Muirhead. The music used in this episode was January Grunge Love Fest by Technoaxe. Visit them online at technoaxe.com. Path of Night uses the 20th anniversary edition rule set of Vampire the Masquerade with a few limited house rules. Vampire the Masquerade is owned by Paradox Interactive. Make sure to subscribe to us wherever you get your podcasts. Follow us on Twitter at Path of Night Pod, on Facebook at facebook.com/Path of Night Podcast, or email us at pathofnightpodcast@gmail.com. See you next time, Kindred.
By the way, after the last podcast episode, I did go back and watch the Pete Holmes thing with the angel.
Yes.
Oh my god. Fucking bird.
Bird!
Shouldn't you send a bird?
Oh my god, Miles channeling Pete Holmes Xavier is fucking amazing.
So the reason that this all happened with the fucking bird joke is me and Rebecca watched the videos of the fucking Pete Holmes. She hadn't seen it. And we were watching, like, oh my god, he's fucking Miles.
Yeah.
He's just Miles.
And then literally the next day we were recording.
And then Miles, I think, said some shit about birds. And I was like, oh no.
He told Wynn, shouldn't you, I don't know, send a bird?
You
same into the same tonality.
Oh my god.
Like,
Some sort of
bird.
You shit on my car, you fucking bird.
Oh wow, I didn't piece that together. Holy
No,
shit.
I remember we were sitting there and I turned to Lex and I was like,
I mean, I love that Garrett is hit by this again because he also in the recording that we posted, he's like, "That's so good."
Well, yeah, but I thought we were just riffing on that bit. I didn't even make the connection that Xavier or Pete Holmes Xavier is fucking Miles. Like
I turned to Lex and I said, "Is that not just Miles?" And there was no reception of new information in his expression. Like it just was like an understood truth that had now been put out.
It was just like, yeah.
Yeah, he has that weird mid-Atlantic accent that I'm kind of affecting for this particular character.
Yeah, no, it's great.
Yep.
You fucking bird.
Bird.
Do you want me to spit this back out for you?
That exact kind of tone is how Miles talks shit.